Okay, sorry about that.
I'll just, when we're done.
Right now from up there.
Is this the Science Center's computer or is it something else?
It's unfiltered.
Okay, so I'll just put that under there. Okay.
I mean, the laser works, but I don't see.
You guys are playing the batteries? So yeah, for whatever reason.
Oh, it's changing here. I muted it for a second. We're live.
Okay.
We're live. We're good to go. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. It's live.
I'm hiding it at the moment. I'm hiding the screen.
How do I get it up?
I'm hiding the screen at the moment. It's working on YouTube.
Okay, how do I go back? Okay, there we go. Do I want to screen share?
You are.
Yeah.
And he can watch. Okay.
Yep, you are screen sharing.
Okay. I just want to make sure the top doesn't.
I'm hiding it on the screen.
Okay. Okay. Are we going to turn it on?
Yeah. Do you want to show?
Okay. And then am I on? Hello? Hello, everybody? Class of 1987! Class of 1987! Hi, Andy. Okay, we are your loyal survey volunteer team testing the limits of boomer technology capability. Andy, my faithful tech support, is not here. Andy's son is graduating from high school in 2 hours in Marin. So, welcome back to the survey presentation. It's great to see everybody. We wanted to give a few introductory comments. Andy?
Well, first, as a reminder, we are no MBAs, not social science.
Working on it, working on it. Be kind, everybody.
That's right. So about 500 respondents this year, so that was great. Why don't we just head right in?
Okay, hold on one sec. One more hookup. This is actually also being live streamed, which in the time-honored tradition of the reunion committee was not communicated to us. So there are 3 layers going on here with, luckily a great AV team, but a slight longer setup time than usual. Okay, I'll just try to get started. All right, so what, we've heard a lot about Veritas this weekend from Larry Bako and everybody else. This is our version. We wanted to do a mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. We got a lot of feedback this time. I don't know if our questions were bad or it's the tenor of the country, but be kind, okay? We're out of touch, okay? Andy wanted to lead with the Tiger King. I said, okay, he got the first question, I got the last question. We're apparently not inclusive. Okay, Andy and I both have been in tech, he for his entire career, me for most. I guess we just think of it as like business or something. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Georgia has nothing on us. Okay, we asked how the pandemic affected you. I mean, what if we hadn't asked? Then what feedback would we have gotten? Boring. To some, very boring. We always get this feedback from some people who don't have children. We asked 5 questions about children. So again, it's a big thing for some, not for others. Now, I want everybody to remember it is self-selected. Nobody has to fill out the survey. Okay, this is from people who want to do it. Anxiety, you know, is ubiquitous. Okay, we ask these questions because every single survey, they are the answers that most people want to hear. This one, by the way, was about the gender question, which some of the questions, the demographic type questions, we use the SurveyMonkey standard questions so that they are prepared and written to a high standard of surveying, which we don't hold ourselves to and can't. This question, the response to this question, that was a professionally written question. So I take no responsibility for offending people's gender. 1/3, okay. Okay. Oh, but you haven't heard the punchline. Andy, with a great show of self-preservation, said, I'm not touching the question on menopause. I wrote it. Okay. All right. We tried not to take it all personally. All right, this is for you guys, not for us, so here we go. Okay. We're starting out, of course, with the basic demographic info, who we are, where we live. We highlighted things that we thought might be more interesting than others. You know, high percentage in the Northeast, low percentage in the South, half of the general population. In parentheses, under current students is where they say they want to live or plan to live. And I think that 70% planning to live in the Northeast may have been kind of like us because a lot of people take their first job in New York. On the political beliefs, what stood out, we know that we're liberal versus Republican, but what stood out was the current students and how progressive and liberal they are. Again, not a super surprise if you think of college campuses nationally, but versus the other populations. And at the bottom, political party, an even 20% swing on our class versus the general population, Republican, Democrat. Okay, so we know who we are. Again, offensive question written by SurveyMonkey. So we're, on the top, okay, one more thing we wanted to say is this class, we always get about 1/3 of the class who responds. And so it is a good representation of the class, but it is not everybody. So everything that we put up here, our data is only for the people who responded to the survey. So just remember that. Also remember, we're not data scientists, we're lowly volunteers, we do what we can. Okay, so to me, and they didn't hook me up here, so I have to look up here. To me, there's a little bit more hetero in our class, and 2% more than the general population. I think that's fairly close. Current students, not that far off. Ethnicity, huge difference. Now remember, the class of 1987 now versus the general population. Our general population in America was different when we were students, so you can't compare one for one, but you can see that versus the current student population, the Asian percentage has more than doubled, the black percentage has doubled, the Hispanic percentage has more than doubled, and that's all gone from the white percentage. But it is closer to the general population now. It is lower white than the general population. It is higher Asian than the general population. It is basically the same black. It is lower Hispanic. And anybody who interviews, which is probably a lot of you guys, nod your head if you do, you know how this goes. So despite all the press, the university has made a big effort and has made big strides. So some people don't like it, some people do, but that's the direction. Okay. All right. You know, people on the way in ask me, how does the survey look? Is it fun? We're kind of getting older. So we had a lot of things in common. This list is everything that was 75% or more. 75% or more is a lot, right? By any survey. Some people, I think Rosie was saying there were a lot of grandchildren if you went to nope, we don't have many grandchildren. Wow. Yet, okay. Self-reporting, yeah, exactly, self-reporting. All right. This is quite low. And we'll get to that later of us versus the general population. I think there's a consensus. All right, now we're getting into the meat. Again, self-reporting. Self-reporting. Okay, now we know people are honest here. So I'm glad that most people are happy. Go 87. Andy, we're waiting for you to chime in. Some of our different, and by the way, do you know that you still have the tiger thing on?
Okay, I can change it.
Boomer. Okay, there were a few differences. Again, thank you. Not all of the differences were as much as in previous years. Again, we seem to be like converging. The biggest differences were male-female. Just a flip on who thinks Harvard is not woke enough or too woke. I don't know who's clapping more, the men or the women. And a big difference in occupation. And by the way, from the people I've talked to out there, I'm not saying who's happier, but you know, go girl. These are some differences by profession. And we apologize, it's a text-heavy presentation, but you guys are all good readers. It's looking good, it's looking good. Okay, so I think the medical burnout, we could have all guessed. The drinking led us to look more into lawyers, least likely to own Bitcoin. I don't know, should they bill at a lower rate if it's only half? I don't know. And this is Andy self-selecting himself. Okay, house stuff. I know you all are just going to read your own house, so go for it. Okay, a couple comments from your observers. Would we have thought that Adams would have the highest survey participation and Lowell would have the lowest? Non-intuitive, non-intuitive. By the way, just so you know, we are not skewing the data, we are not ignoring data, we are not doing this as a personal presentation of what's so great about us. I was in Quincy House. Okay, how have we changed? I think this is intuitive also. Senior moments have gone up 29%. Prescription meds. I think the only thing that's counterintuitive here, if you think about how we think of aging, is that we're a little bit more liberal. I think we tend to think that people get more conservative as they age. We're a little more liberal. Andy had a theory on this.
Yeah, I thought it was the Trump years, basically.
For better or worse, there's always downstream implications of everything. Things that haven't changed much: survey taking, marriage, orgasmic bliss, exactly the same. A few more people think it's disappointing, which probably is, right? Because we're 78% married, so anyway. Okay, same percentage daily sex. Raise your hand. No, don't raise your hand. And you guys didn't want us to report on this. If you don't want us to ask any more questions on sex in the next 5-year survey, write in. You know our email. We'll leave them out if we get enough.
Post any questions on the Facebook page, and I'll try to answer them.
Yeah. All right. So now this is a little bit more fun. Again, apologies for the text heavy. I hope everybody has a readers. So the biggest categories here and most unexpected were the things that matter most to us: tragedies, health scares, good and bad things with family and career. People. I do feel that even though people wrote in a lot of criticisms of the humble surveyors, they also wrote in a lot about themselves, and we all appreciate that. So thank you to everybody who took the time. We did pick out some awards that, brought up the mood a little bit. And if you are in the audience when something that you wrote is awarded, I invite you to come up and select as if you were at the dentist, okay? Select a prize.
Very unprepared. I usually tell it after a couple margaritas. I was in the Peace Corps in Belize, saved up our money. Hi, Sindabal, South House. Went to the Peace Corps after this and served in Belize for 2 years. Saved up my money with one of my friends, got on a bus, went from Belize to Chetumal to Cancun. A lot of people have been there. We took an overnight bus from Chiapas in Oaxaca, and at one of the stops, I noticed somebody getting on. Somebody was screaming, "Mangoes para vender," mangoes for sale. And about a half an hour later, we're sitting in the second seat back on the right. The bus stopped, and it went off the side of the road, and we looked out. Somebody was opening a gate, and they drove the bus into some field. And we looked out the window, and there were 10 banderos. So it was like the Great Train Robbery in the Midwest. But it was the bus, and we survived. Thought we weren't going to. They left us with our passports.
Your lives?
And
your health?
it's what turned me to business, because we had traveler's checks back then, no cell phones, so we had to figure our way out of it. And fortunately, we were meeting another volunteer who had a hotel room. And then I spent the 4th of July weekend in Mexico City talking to some jerk in New York in an air-conditioned building to get him to give us our money.
Thank you. Cinda. Hello. What I was going to say is, if your name is called out or if your quote is called out, come pick a prize. We're pretending that we're like, 7 years old and going to the dentist. Actually, I don't know how to turn this off now. But, here. I usually throw hats, but the coop was really low this year and everything was $30. So I was like, wait, no. Okay. This is a great one. This is what it's all about. Okay, anybody who feels this represents them, even if you didn't write it, you can come down and get a prize. No takers, all right, okay. Pick a prize.
I'm a Chinatown kid. I've been mugged by every race under the sun. I've taken the train at midnight and had people walk out of the train thinking I was going to mug them. Now, I'm a dad. I live in the suburbs. I have 3 kids. I think I was one of the first people in our class to buy a minivan because at our 10th reunion, all these people were laughing at me. I drove up and I was like, you'll see. Here I am.
Yay, Dunley!
So I do have a child, and, woke, she's very anti-capitalist. She's like, it's the root of all evil. I'm like, I work for the Federal Reserve. I work for the man. Boring.
Thank you. The stories we have to tell. Okay. I think Andy was saying this is his personal favorite. Oh, heartwarming. And the prize, the grand prize goes to...
It really did happen. We got married in 2015, and yeah, it was really like a little fairy tale. So his pickup line was, "You weren't here last night. I would have seen you."
So this was actually my first marriage, and it just goes to prove that good things can come to those who wait.
Yay! You wanna... Thank you. Okay. Craziest things. There were groupings here. Falling, lots of falling, and then climbing slowly. adventure travel. Andy?
I'm on, it's very delayed lag time. Oh, so we figured if you said that the craziest thing was a secret or that you did lots of crazy things, that was probably related to sex and drugs.
A lot of people thought it was just crazy to have kids. We like this one. There's a lot of romance alive and well in class of '87. You have to turn it on. At the bottom. The other side. Here. Yeah.
So, here. That's a very orthopedic surgeon thing to do, which is turn to the nurse and be like, "You fix this." And I'm so touched that you guys found a picture of my husband, Richard.
Well, there is a story there that the pictures, the female pictures of the orthopedist turned supermodel.
Sexy surgeons.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. I'll actually can I tell you a story of what I thought about this? I was in the operating room the night of the Oscars when Mira Sorvino, I don't know if you guys know her, class behind us, won Best Actress. And I was curetting out pus out of an infected femur. And I actually started crying. The nurses were like, I was like, so on the radio they're saying, "Oh, and here's Mira Sorvino. Oh, she's dancing with Brad Pitt. How nice." And I'm like, oh, fuck. That could have been me. Thank you guys so much. It's all nice seeing you.
Take a prize, take a prize. Okay, a lot of people put nothing. And I had dinner with a friend who lives in Boston, of course doesn't come to these, who said, well, when I got craziest things, I had nothing to put, so I just stopped writing the survey. One of my best friends. But I told her, a lot of people said nothing. Again, 35th. There were people who said moving to the Midwest was the craziest thing they'd ever done. And then there were a few that we just felt like, tell us more. Tell us more. Okay, now the big awards. Most Harvard-y. Okay. I can tell you that this is a trip my husband would never have taken. Like, he's not here. That is, okay. You really should come down if you're here, because we all wish we were you. Again, heartwarming. Heartwarming. Okay, luckily it was in youth. Really not bright, but getting shot at. People are still shot at in Cambodia. I have a friend. I don't know. And don't do it now either. Okay, who's buying us dinner? Okay, and you didn't know that the online... Was it most naive, was it most naive or the Bitcoin?
Yeah, most naive. No, but it wasn't that bad of a cult. And for some reason, they never let me into the inner circle. It was really painful that I wasn't in the inner circle, but you know what? Kind of worked out well. So
Yeah.
that was me.
Better off in the end. Please, pick a prize. we are still doing good works. This one, you don't get a prize. And, oh wow, we can't really match this person. Motorcycle, lava tube sex, eating, eating ground crickets. And also self-aware, right? Who is this? Who is this person?
I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to say. Yeah, I guess this is not what you would expect from the person who had nothing to do for all of reading period freshman year because she'd finished her work 2 weeks early.
You're a prize winner. Take a prize. Prize. Take a prize. By the way, the cookies I filched from the lobby of the Charles Hotel where I went for breakfast because I thought they were cute. Okay, they didn't need them. All right. So obviously, where are we in the world? This has been a tough time for so many. But there was a wide range of responses on this. First of all, we wanted to shout out to all the medical professionals in the class. It's 12% of our class. Of course, a fifth are burned out, but they're also the most likely to be medicated and the least likely to be in pain. And maybe they know more than the rest of us. They're the least likely to want to live over 100. They've seen it. Okay. So we divided the rest of the responses to this into a few categories. The first category, if you think back on your COVID experience, some comments just said it all. My uncle died. My clients got meaner. I became anxious. Thanks for asking. It almost killed me. I feel like I've aged 20 years. Do nothing, go nowhere. And then somebody really pick a prize. Do you want to say something or no? Speaking for all of us in their own inimitable way. The next category, this was a tough time. Especially as we noted for medical professionals, getting death threats. I think this happened a lot. You could, if people are honest. The social isolation was heavy. There were severe mental health effects, not just, feeling down and drinking white wine after 4 or 12 or 10 a.m. But some of us, if you reach deep inside, you can turn it around, leading to our last category. There were, some of us, a lot of us had some good things. We probably saw more of our kids. I did. And felt a little guilty, by the way. This is our class, this was another theme that, people really do think about the rest of the planet, the rest of the country. New career paths, some people pivoted. I love this one, became me 4.0. I want to become me 4.0. And the truly fortunate among us. Okay. We always have to go to pets. This is one where you're going to shout out the answer. Who has an idea? If you got it right, because I couldn't hear, come get a prize. Okay, some factoids. 50% changed weight, one way or the other. Like a quarter of us wore PJs till nighttime, just sometimes. You know, you had that day. Most people didn't move, and most people do not think that COVID escaped from the lab. Okay. This was the toughest group of responses for us to read and probably the toughest to write. Unlike in the how did the pandemic affect you category, there wasn't much lemonade. There wasn't much awesomeness. I think young people truly had it bad in most of our lives. So we had a couple categories. You know, these kind of encapsulate it. So a lot of academic issues. You know, learning online, it turns out, doesn't really work, especially when you're like, well, how about 5? Or, you know, 15 or 20, it's really tough. Serious mental health effects. Some not so serious, but, you know, I think most of them had at least some anxiety, but there was some really serious stuff. Again, you know, reflecting about how bad it was for our families, and yet knowing that we were so fortunate versus so many others. And then maybe Manhattan real estate. That was one bright spot. That's the only time we'll ever be able to afford it either. Okay, hobbies. Kind of what you'd expect, I guess. Again, there were quite a few people who said, how could you ask it? Well, we had to ask it.
Thank you. Yes. First of all, thanks to Andy, because I tried many times to submit this survey, and on Safari, on Firefox, none of it ever worked. So I actually sent all of my answers to Andy, who put them in manually. So thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. I was in a cranky mood that day, I think. But, this is, I've had a lot of conversations this weekend about kids. We were talking about how, our particularly kids going from high school into college and all that. So kids have had it rough. Doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists, God bless you. And also, I just shout out, because as hard as online learning was, a shout out, please, can I see hands of teachers in the room? Teachers? Thank you. Yes, give it up for the teachers. Woohoo!
On a lighter note, this is where Andy was proved 100% wrong on Tiger King, which I never watched, by the way. Shout out if you know the top by a landslide shows to stream. If you said Ted Lasso, come get a prize. Okay, Andy, do you want to give us the stats on the next? Ozarks. Ozarks was far behind.
Basically, Ted Lasso was like 50% more than Ozark, and Ozark was 100% more than everything else. So it was
I know I'm. Okay. Again, this is kind of a no surprises slide. It's pretty standard. Want to get out, want to see people, want to come to the reunion. Hugs, movies, laughter. There's a lot gone, a lot to regain. And finally, you know, the kind of questions that we asked near the end of the survey about what's in the future for us. You know, reunions are a lot about looking back, but we also look forward. And I think as we get older, we get a little bit better at that. So what's going on right now that stood out? You know, we're going to be empty nesters soon. If not already, it's a huge change. People had different views on that, positive, negative, neutral. A lot of activism. And, you know, maybe it'll continue, maybe it won't, moment in time, or, you know, are we newly awoke? This is not a high percentage, but it's certainly up from zero, right? And a trend in society that we're following. You know, so 30, 40 of us, it's a big change. Again, we noted this before. Nobody should run. I mean, I don't know who's going to run, but okay. China is taking over our kids. China will invade Taiwan. Harvard should divest from Russia. Andy, there were some comments about that. Harvard divesting from Russia.
Oh yeah, people were confused whether it was like divesting from the country itself or from stocks, and I was like, we had this discussion in the 80s with South Africa. What's the confusion?
Okay, and remember, this was taken several months ago, so far we're holding in there about reality. All right, maybe we're on the cusp, but let's just be honest here. Let's face who we are. In past surveys, I've claimed that women are more honest, okay? Just saying. We went over that. Pain. And on the menopause, Andy, what was this spouse driving you nuts?
Oh, yeah, so that one was, I don't know why I said that. I can't remember because I'm having a senior moment.
In case you thought that it was the women saying their spouse was driving them nuts.
Yeah, it was mostly women answering though, but yeah.
There were a lot of the men who answered, that was their favorite response.
Yes.
Okay.
They weren't having menopause themselves.
We think, we don't know. Shout it out. Just kidding. I know you can't read that. If you got it right, come down. This is another one where we're you know, in the audience, we're like way over the actual numbers. So maybe we're more honest in person, I don't know. Okay. out.
I guessed 20% dye her hair. I've been gray since I was 8. And proud.
It's fabulous. Okay, this is another one where we look this is that reflection on us versus the population. You could pick as many of these as you wanted. And, you know, decline of democracy was the only one that got over 50%, Andy?
Yeah, that was the only one that got over 50 for us.
Okay. Note climate change, people, if you think of us as educated and aware. General population. I guess we live in safer places for the most part. I guess we're protected from COVID. I guess, you know, we don't have that issue. The general population is 4% more, almost 10% more concerned than us about climate change. I don't know. Step it up. Note the difference in almost, you know, almost 3 times as much concern the general population as ours. Now, we do have a lot of doctors. We do have a lot of people who went first to get their vaccines, but still, it's you can, you know, get the picture of our lifestyle versus the general population. So. Retirement plans. No, this is people. This is number of people. I mean, everybody plays pickleball and mahjong in LA, so I don't know who's answering this. Our favorite retirement plans. Oh, I want to run a tea house. Okay. We work for you. Okay, this is the most specific passion, and 2 of them. Where are you? A guy can dream. Everything, like, we're gonna do it all. Where's the energy? I don't know. This is the aspirational, and we have Andy's favorite. So in sum, we appreciate the audience participation. We appreciate everybody who took this survey, who is present and who's live streaming in or not able to attend. And we hope to get your attention again in 5 years. So thank you.
Wow. All right. Janet. All right. Thank you, Susanna. And Andy's gone, but thank you so much.
Sure.
Enlightening about where our class is now. I'm Janet Pearl, secretary of our great class of '87. So I recall. Oh yeah, please stay. Don't go. We have this great panel to come on glimpses. Please don't go.